Okay, hey cellos, welcome to part 2 of your video lesson over classic Sinfonia. Last week, last 2 weeks, we've been working on measures 1 all the way up to 20, where we have our repeat sign going back to the beginning. Here in part 2, we're going to be covering 21 all the way through 40, where we have another repeat sign here on the second page. Alright, so I'm going to be starting right on measure 21 today. So this is the end of your first page. Right after we've done a repeat, we've played all this again, we land at 21. Alright, a couple reminders. Remember our key signature. We have F sharp and C natural, so just make sure we're not getting that mixed up. Know when to use your third finger and know when to use your second finger. Third finger for F sharp and B, second finger for C natural. Alright, so right off the bat, measure 21. We're going to come in on just right on beat 1, nice strong E. It's accented. We were forte, so it's just a really strong just downbeat on 1. We've got a quarter rest followed by half rest, so we're just resting. We're out for the rest of the measure, and then one more measure. So we've played 1 E, and then we're chilling out for like a measure in 3 beats. And then here we come back in 2 measures later. First thing we notice is we've got a new little vocabulary word right here over this E, legato. Now, if we're thinking and kind of thinking back carefully, that sounds real familiar or real similar to a word we've learned a while ago, staccato, right? Staccato and legato are opposites. So remember, staccato means short and separated with all that space in between the notes. Legato is the opposite. It means smooth and connected, as close as you can get. And it's not just talking about these 2 notes here that are slurred. It's actually talking about that's the whole style for this entire section that we're going to be playing. So what you need to be thinking with your bow is just like as little space in between the notes as possible. So our bow should never be still unless we're like actually resting. That doesn't mean slur everything. That just means, we want to make sure everything is very, very smooth and connected. So the other thing we've got going on, can I stop getting notifications? Thank you. We also have mezzo piano, so we were pretty much all loud at the beginning with the exception of like these 2 measures here. Everything was loud. For the first time, we're actually soft for a pretty good while. So this whole section is going to be kind of quiet. So we slur from that first finger, E to the B, and then hold it for a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest for a whole measure. Then we're going to come back in and do the exact same thing again. Down, up. And then here we have a little melodic bit kind of going on for the next 3 measures. Just make sure you're looking at your notes carefully. We have A, G, F sharp, E, D. So it's just kind of a scale going down from A all the way down to E, or D actually. Landing here on D, then we skip up to F sharp, and then skip up to A. So, okay. Let's do this. Bonus points. Anybody that can tell me either in a comment or an email, what is this called whenever we skip the notes like this? D to F sharp to A and then back to D again. There's a name for this. I'm genuinely curious to see who remembers what this is called. I'll give you a hint. It starts with an A. Alright. So anyway, we have this D, F sharp, A, D, followed by 4 E's. E, 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 E. Alright. Let's try playing this. I'm going to go nice and slow, starting at 21, and I'm going to play all the way up to measure 28. And you can follow along with me if you want, or if you just want to listen to kind of hear how it goes. If you're playing along with me, don't forget YouTube has that feature where if you click the little cog wheel down at the bottom, it can slow the video down the playback speed, and then you can follow along at a slower speed if you would like to. 1, 2, ready, go. Alright, great. That brings us to measure 29. Now, 29 should be pretty easy. This is actually just a great spot for us to work on practicing that legato bowing because it's just ease just for 4 straight measures, right? So there's really no reason that, we can't do this. Just take this, isolate it a little bit, and then just work on just getting that nice slow legato bowing. Careful though, when you get to the next page, it is going to change kind of just all of a sudden on you to half notes, right? So make sure you don't just get locked into that gear of quarter, just nonstop. Then you get to the next page where you have to your eyes have to move a pretty good ways to go from one page to the other. Remember, when you've got this on your stand, it's not going to be one on top of the other like this. It's going to be next to you, so you're going to be looking down here and then up here. So make sure you're ready to switch gears to go to slow bows. Remember, quarter notes are kind of faster. These are slower, long slow bows. 1, 2, 3, 4, E, E, and then low, A, right? That was G. I'm thinking of a viola. First finger, A. No, I'm thinking of a bass. I don't even know what I'm thinking of. I'm losing my mind. I've been quarantined too long. All the instruments are just running together into one big string instrument that's messing me up. So I don't mess you up. D, D, first finger E, first finger E, first finger A, first finger A. And then we're going to end on these 2 notes here. Double stops. Remember double notes, double stops? And that's a D and A together just like that. Let's try playing 29 all the way through 36 together. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, excellent. Now we are on measure 37, and we are in the final stretch. Overall, I'd say this section up to this point is not too bad. But here's where things start to get a little more challenging. But I'm going to honestly say not as challenging as it looks. I'm going to promise you, once you kind of understand how, this measure and this measure work, you're going to be like, oh, I get it. That's easy. You just got to understand what you're playing. First measure, we just got another set of double stops here at 37, except now it's D and G instead of the A and D we were playing in the measure before. So make sure we get those 2 notes together. Rest on 4. And then here we've got a scale going up. It starts in a weird spot we're not really used to, but if all these 8th notes, it's just going up 1 note at a time. So if we know what finger or what string comes after, what comes next, you're going to be in great shape here. So first note, let's take a look at what are we starting on. Think real quick. This is our 3rd finger B, right? If you hadn't figured that out. 3rd finger B, followed by C, followed by open D, followed by 1st finger E, F sharp, G, A, B. So this is just a weird D major scale that is starting on a B instead of a D, or you could think of it, whatever scale you want to think of it as. It'd actually be a G major scale, but that's not the point. Starting on B, landing on B at the top. Basically, you're just playing from B to B. And then once you get to that B, what are we doing next? We're going to go to 4th finger G here as a quarter note, and then E. So if I were you guys practicing at home, I would just look at this measure right here. I wouldn't go really any further than this. I might tag on that last note for funsies. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Right, remember these are quarter notes. Don't practice these at the same speed as that. That's just going to mess you up. Right, once you if you practice all this without even thinking about the rhythm, you're just going to mess up whenever you're trying to practice it for real. So make sure you're playing these as 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Rhythm is always important, even whenever you're just trying to get the fingerings down. So now that brings us to this last measure here, because we had 2 beats of rest, 3, 4, coming on 1. Now, this looks like notes all over the place, like they just like threw up a bunch of notes on the page and we're like, there you go. But it's actually not as bad as it looks. First note, beat 1 is a D. Next 3 notes are just open A. 1 and 2, and so you didn't even have to worry about left hand doing anything. 1 and 2, and that's it. So that's kind of this first cluster of notes. So look at beats 3 and 4. Beats 3 is an F sharp, and the rest of the notes are just, they're just D. 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so the only note in all 8 of these notes, there's 8 notes here, the only one you even need your left hand for is this F sharp right here. Other than that, you don't even have to care. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, all right? So isolate this, practice it by itself, kind of pizzicato it, isolate that, pizzicato that. Once you feel comfortable, let's try working this slowly together. And if I'm still going too fast for you, remember, slow the video down, take it at the tempo you feel comfortable. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, that's going to cover part 2 for us. That got us all the way from measure 21 to measure 40 of our music. And again, once you hit measure 40, remember we have this repeat sign that's going to take us back to 21 again. That's kind of like eyeball gymnastics, having to look at one piece of paper on one line, then look to another piece of paper on another line like that, especially since we're ending on an 8th note and immediately playing another note on beat 1. So maybe in your music, circle this spot right here so it's easy for your eyes to catch, so you're not like getting lost, or just memorize where it's at. Remember, your music, you can write whatever you want in it, like to help you out. Not note names though, that's cheating. We're better than that. And yeah, and if you need to practice it slowly and you want to play along with me, just slow the video down. All right. If you have any questions, leave me a comment, post something on Classroom, send me an email, whatever you need to do. I'm pretty good about checking everything. For those of you who do leave me questions, or you can stop by during my office hours. Anyway, stay safe. Hope to see you guys soon.